For decades, Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old matriarch from Tucson, Arizona, appeared to live a quiet, devoted life. Widowed in 1989, she raised 3 children while maintaining stability and grace. But her sudden disappearance in February 2026 revealed that Nancy's life was far more complicated than anyone imagined. A mysterious package arriving at her daughter Savannah's New York home 5 days after the vanishing contained a faded photograph and a cryptic message hinting at secrets long buried. What followed was an unraveling of a double life Nancy had meticulously concealed for over 30 years, challenging everything her family believed about her. Tucson roots. Resilient widow. After her husband Charles died suddenly, Nancy became the backbone of her family. Raising Savannah, Annie, and Cam as a widow, she managed a modest ranch-style home in Tucson while working part-time as a bookkeeper. Friends remember her as gracious, composed, and tireless, volunteering at her church and supporting her children's ambitions. Her children admired her dedication and quiet strength. To the outside world, she embodied stability and resilience. Yet behind closed doors, Nancy grappled with grief and loneliness, emotions she buried to protect her family. Her life in Tucson appeared perfect, but it masked the stirrings of a parallel existence waiting of all the clue, a mysterious envelope. The first sign of Nancy's hidden life came from a simple envelope delivered to Savannah's home in New York on February 6, 2026. Inside was a faded photograph of Nancy with a man none of the children recognized, standing outside a cafe in Santa Fe, New Mexico. On the back, in unfamiliar handwriting, a note read, "She deserved more than secrets. Ask about Elena." Savannah's siblings, Annie and Cam, were stunned. The date of the photo, 1992, suggested this relationship began shortly after their father's death. This single image became the key that unlocked decades of concealment, hinting at a life Nancy carefully shielded from her family. A chance encounter in Santa Fe. Nancy's secret began in 1991 during a solo trip to Santa Fe for a church retreat. Still grieving Charles, she met Victor Ramirez, a 45-year-old artist and gallery owner from Mexico City. Victor, widowed and free-spirited, offered a life of art, passion, and freedom, contrasting sharply with Nancy's responsibilities in Tucson. Their initial bond, rooted in shared loss, evolved into a deeper connection. Nancy returned home transformed but kept it hidden. While she continued raising her children with steadfast devotion, she began traveling regularly to Santa Fe under innocent pretenses. These trips laid the foundation for a life hidden in plain sight. The birth of Elena Victor gave Nancy the nickname Elena, inspired by a Mexican novel character, symbolizing the untamed and expressive side of her white she had long suppressed. As Elena, Nancy helped run Victor's gallery, exhibited paintings, and immersed herself in a vibrant artistic community. In Tucson, she remained the composed widow. In Santa Fe, she was free to explore her passions without judgment. This duality allowed Nancy to live both roles, but the secrecy weighed on her. Each trip required careful planning and discretion, balancing her family obligations with her desire for self-expression. The alias became her shield, keeping her two worlds separate yet intertwined. Financial and logistical secrets. By the mid-1990s, Nancy had deepened her dual life, opening a small bank account under Elena Ramirez and funneling modest sums from her bookkeeping job to support the gallery. Victor introduced her to a circle of artists and intellectuals, exposing her to experiences she had never allowed herself in Tucson. Letters were exchanged by hand, stored in a locked box under her bed. Even with the growing emotional stakes, Nancy rationalized her secrecy. Her children's stability was paramount. The financial arrangements, though modest, gave her a tangera an chi, a tangera an chi, and chi a busti a bloli a chi. In an endless world and reinforced the separation of identities that had become her delicate balancing act. A life of compartmentalization. Nancy's ability to compartmentalize allowed her to sustain this secret for decades. Tucson. Nancy attended church events, cared for her grandchildren, and provided unwavering support to Savannah's rising career. Elaine and Nancy hosted gallery openings, danced at fiestas, and debated philosophy among freethinkers. Each weekend, she traveled the 8-hour journey to Santa Fe, explaining her absences with plausible stories. Her children remained oblivious, trusting the image of their devoted mother. But the strain of juggling identities grew over time, affecting her health and increasing anxiety. The duality was thrilling and liberating, but came at the cost of ever-present tension and self-doubt. Letters and emotional escape correspondence with Victor became the lifeline for Nancy's hidden identity. Handwritten letters chronicled the exhilaration and guilt of living a double life. One letter from 2005 noted her children's success while Elena savored her creative freedom. These letters reveal a woman balancing love for her children with a need for autonomy. Through her words, one glimpses the internal conflict Nancy faced: desire versus duty. Her secret was not just about romance, it was an assertion of identity stifled by decades of domestic expectation. Elena was Nancy's refuge, allowing her to breathe while maintaining the outward appearance of the perfect mother. The escalating risks. By 2020, Nancy's anxiety intensified. Pandemic lockdowns forced her to stay in Tucson, cutting her off from Elena's world. Secret encrypted communications with Victor revealed her growing distress. When she resumed travel post-pandemic, she noted feeling watched and tailed, unusual events she initially dismissed as paranoia. Financial audits revealed irregularities. Small withdrawals to Santa Fe, and an alarming $5,000 transfer to Mexico. Investigators now suspect blackmail, possibly by someone who discovered her secret. The letters and photographs from her locked box were missing, suggesting deliberate intrusion. The meticulous concealment that had protected Nancy for decades was under threat, exposing vulnerabilities she had never anticipated. The FBI investigation. After Nancy's disappearance, the FBI interviewed Victor, uncovering details of the double life and her growing fears. He recounted arguments over secrecy, her declining health, and the stress of living in two worlds. Financial anomalies and mysterious transfers raised alarms. Agents have retraced her movements in Tucson and Santa Fe, followed leads to Mexico, and canvassed local neighbors. Tips describe a mysterious man near her Tucson home before the disappearance. Investigators suspect personal motives, possibly blackmail or jealousy. The crime appears targeted, with no signs of robbery, suggesting her secret life as the motive. Each revelation complicates the timeline of Nancy's final days. Public reaction and family impact. The family grappled with shock and betrayal. Savannah, known for composure, broke down upon hearing Victor's account. Annie and Cam wrestled with disbelief, piecing together decades of hidden experiences. Social media erupted, speculating about a secret lover and blackmail. Victor's gallery became a focal point for media and local curiosity. Despite the public attention, friends recall Elena's generosity and quiet contributory to a ni ana say and name tree. For Nancy, the double life represented freedom and self-expression, yet the exposure now threatens her peace. Her family must reconcile love for the woman they knew with the reality of Elena's vibrant, secret existence. Conclusion: a life of complexity. Nancy Guthrie's story is one of duality, resilience, and the human desire for freedom. For over 30 years, she juggled the demands of motherhood with the pursuit of personal fulfillment. Tucson and Santa Fe represented duty and liberation, family and passion. The vanishing and possible blackmail underline the risks of hidden lives, yet the decades of balance she achieved reflect remarkable ingenuity and courage. Nancy's choices were not selfish, but protective, reflecting a deep understanding of her family's needs. Her disappearance now highlights the cost of secrecy and the tension between societal expectation and personal identity, leaving a complex legacy that demands empathy and curiosity.